Another wonderful 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I truly appreciate it. Today is an open letter to my friends of the car business. I ask you, the last 12 to 15 months have been the most profitable that we have ever seen. But does that mean that we did the right thing? I was recently talking with a great friend of mine / client that runs a large used car operation down south, multiple stores. And I use him as sort of my benchmark, not only where he's located, but just the amount of business that he does, the way he operates, I think gives me a good baseline to see when trends happen. And when talking to him, some alarming things came out. Auctions started seeing 3, 4, 5 times the vehicle they'd seen a year ago. Price of vehicles he'd bought 60, 90 days ago now were $3, $4, $5, $6,000 less than they were previously. This is, to me, right, that's the beginning of all things inflation. And our business has been through a lot. And I'm not going to sit here and begrudge people $6,000 profits on a vehicle, okay? Because I get it. I do. I've been in this business a long time. However, I ask you, $6,000 today means no trade-in for when? 6 years? 7 years? When is that car going to get back out around? When is that going to make sense? Have all we done is make money today while crushing the lifetime value of a customer? Because it certainly feels that way. And the worst part about it, I think, is for people who will return to the dealership where they bought this vehicle and be told there's nothing they can do to help them because they made too much money on them the first time. Now, I know it's easy for me to not be in retail to sit here and talk about these sort of things because I don't have to make those decisions, but I'll be fair to you. I work with plenty of clients that don't charge over MSRP, that stay below book retail so that they can keep their eyes and focus on the future of our industry. Because the future of our industry has really never been so in question, really, like it is now. The threat of direct to consumer, all the manufacturers deciding they're going to be used car dealers on top of being manufacturers, which they already struggle with and have no business getting into, but here they are. What about the dealer? So I get it. Make the profit where you can. And you did that because you weren't able to get new cars in most cases. But again, my guys who are independent operators, that wasn't their thing. So they were out just making what they could make when they could make it. Shit, 6 months ago, people were talking about cars being an investment. They were talking about flipping cars like they were houses. This is not right, people. I know in the short term it makes money, but I am not someone who lives in a short-term world. I live longer term than most. I play the long game in almost every game that I play. And I feel like we got short-sighted. And not only did we get short-sighted, but like my boy said, we develop bad habits in good times. And those bad habits were, hey, if he's not willing to take my deal at $5,000, he can get out of my showroom. Guess what? Not anymore. And did you make that change quick enough? Were you on top of it? All of you wanted inventory. I see the posts. I read the news articles. I'm watching it all. We want inventory. But do you want the right inventory? Because that's what matters. And again, used car operators be the first place to tell you what's good and what's bad in their market. Because it sits. We got 90-day, 120-day units now. What happened? 6 months ago, you had 15-day turns. Reality is what happened, people. Inflation, math, those are things that happened. So now what do? How do we adjust out of it? When you're buried in these cars, what do? Do you keep hoping it rises? Do you cut bait and run? Do you bring it to the auction? Do you think you're still in a position where you can go to the auction and make $3,000 over what you own a car for? That's definitely not what I'm hearing and seeing in the data that I look at. So here we are. New car manufacturers say production is moving. We're ready to go. Question is, where are you going to go? What are you going to do to get these people out of their cars? New car manufacturers are going to have to go back to huge rebates just to make up for negative equity in cars that are 2, 3 years old. Now what? 2021, gross profit year ever. Boom, boom. Unbelievable. Best in the history of a lot of companies. Outstanding. Do I think that's going to happen this year? I don't. I think we're in for a little bit of tough sledding. Only because inflation is real. It's not like made up, okay? This isn't some hoax. It's math. When you buy a product for X, and now 6 months later, it's worth less because it should have never been worth X. It's actually back to where it belongs. The difference between where it belongs and where it was is an inflated price. So, like I said, now what? I am through and through a car guy at heart. I love this business no matter what. But I ask us, take a second look at what we're doing right now. And if things are starting to sit for even the smallest amount of time, cut that money and get going. Gross profit height, the highest it's been, that may have already happened. All right? I hope that this gets a conversation going. I want people to be thinking about it because I'm not in the car business for 2022. I'm in the car business for 2025 and beyond. That's my goal. That's what I want to see happen with this industry. And with all the threats around it and all the issues that do it, we got to do some things to help ourselves. And these are some of the things, pricing, customer experience, to name a few, that can really, really help us get back on the right track. All right? Look, it's not really a downer. It's just a conversation. Let's have it. Have a great week, and I'll see you again next week.